Started, I have to say it's a very special day today.
What? In all honesty, I forgot.
It's never too late, and she could be listening. It's Mama Bear's 50th birthday today, so let's give her a round of applause. She doesn't look a day over 49. Cool. So, welcome everyone. So today's topic is building rapport. Now, I think this is a particularly interesting topic, especially for the three of us, because we've kind of got the generations. We've got, Gen Z, Jensen, Jordan. You're just a millennial, and I think I'm a baby boomer. And so I think today's topic is going to be an interesting one. So let's quickly go around the room in terms of intros. I think everybody knows us by now, but I'd like to give some added context in terms of our experience in sales, because I think that's relevant to the topic today. So my name's Alex Abbott, often known as the bearded sales guy. So I've got 31 years experience in sales, almost 24 years in B2B sales. And so I thought I was pretty good at building rapport. But hold that thought for a second. Jordan.
Hello, I'm Jordan Abbott, Business Development Manager at the ISP, also known as the Sales Poet. I have been in sales, or complex B2B sales, let's say, for 3.5 years. I dabbled in some telesales and door-to-door sales / field sales in my youth. But forget about that.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks, Jordan. Jensen.
Hi, Jensen Abbott, BDR at Content.ai, and I've been in sales for 2.5 years.
Cool.
So yeah.
And enjoying it?
Yeah, loving it. Keeps me on my toes.
Keeps you on your toes. So with this topic in mind, both of you have been on what I would consider quite a roller coaster in sales. Yesterday, I was speaking to a sales rep doing a coaching call with one of my new clients, and he was talking about his experience in sales being 5 or 6 years, and he's seen things change significantly. So when he first got into sales, it was all about cold calling and emailing, and now his customers, his buyers don't answer the phone and they don't read his emails. So interestingly, he was talking about how he's leveraging WhatsApp. So I think, these are all signs that our audience, buyers, including sellers, are getting younger. And, I want to hear from each of you what your experience is in relation to building rapport. When does it start? When does it start for you? When do you start thinking about building rapport with your territory? Who wants to go first?
I'll dive in. Yeah, it's a good question. I think one that will vary between person to person based on what their definition is of rapport building, right? In the traditional sense, it would be sort of on that first call, and there's a great post that I saw way back when I first started from Sherry Levetkin. I probably butchered her surname there, and I will come on to that. But as a result of the work that we've done and the training that we've done, really rapport building starts from the moment that your prospect sees you, really, because your personal brand, and that's not just your digital personal brand. Obviously, your digital personal brand, that's your profiles on socials. But those first interactions, perhaps someone's seen you at an event, holding a talk, that all encompasses your personal brand. How you engage with people, that's your personal brand. So I think it's from that first interaction, really, because it influences people's perceptions of you. And of course, what we want to do is make people believe that we're half decent people, and maybe it's worth a quick chat over a coffee or a beer or whatever it may be. So that's
easier for some than others
yeah
to build that rapport. Yeah. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, I was rambling, but that was sort of what I wanted to say. It really depends on the definition. Traditionally, it's that first call, but there's a lot that goes on before that.
Yeah, Jensen, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, it's exactly kind of what Jordan said. It's for me, it's as soon as that prospect would see me, whether that's on socials or if that's in person at an event. And I like to kind of have a couple, not tricks, but I like to have kind of my own skill set within my armory to help me build that rapport and come across as the person I am. So for an example, I always love to have a smile on my face, especially at events, especially when talking to new people, because it's also a little bit more warming, a little bit more welcoming, right? It's not looking so serious. It's actually kind of, it's just asking a simple question at the beginning if you're at an event, right? And trying to gain that little bit of conversation and trust. And then that's where you can then kind of move on talking about work or take the conversation in any way that you want. But yeah, for me, social is exactly the same. It's as soon as that prospect sees me, it's how can I actually build rapport with this individual, and actually add value to them, or educate them, or learn something from them, right? That's what it is for me personally.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just going to say you made a really good point there. The best way to build rapport is to ask questions. I can't remember the exact saying, but it's something along the lines of you'll make a lot more friends by taking interest in them, in the other person, rather than trying to be interesting yourself. So it's a really good point, and something that is very relevant. And I'll mention that post that I was talking about. It was in relation to trying to find some sort of synergy with people. And I know when I first started, I was not being my whole self necessarily. I thought I had to fill a mold. But the post was along the lines of, Sherry was on a call with someone and asked, what do you do in your spare time? And the person responded, running. And she's like, oh, I hate running. How am I gonna align with this person? And she asked a few more questions and found out a bit more about why she liked running. What was it that did it for her? And the prospect said, it feels like moving meditation for me. And then Sherry was like, oh, well, I love yoga. I love meditating. That's where that synergy is.
I think it's a really important point. I know we're sort of gravitating towards, in the moment, building rapport when you're actually speaking to someone, which I have to say many people in sales, many salespeople, let's say, are good at that. That's perhaps why they enjoy sales. And often I think in that moment, salespeople, I know I've done it before, you feel like you need to find that mutual interest quickly. So you perhaps search for it a little too hard. And actually, if you just sit back and be curious and ask questions to really understand more about that individual, you kind of build rapport through your line of questioning. And eventually you might get to the mutual interest, which I think will only validate the feeling, the feeling that is exchanged between two people where rapport is being built. And I do think if one tries too hard, that becomes obvious, and the recipient can kind of resist the the pull, as it were, goes in the opposite direction. I want to but I want to come back to what I think is one of the biggest challenges that businesses are experiencing today, which is quite simply getting conversations with their target audience. And we talk about that a lot. We've certainly experienced how difficult that is for ourselves, moving away from traditional outbound, using email, phones, webinars, cadences, sales cadences, to one that is more personality driven, relationship driven. So what are some of the things that you both do in relation to building rapport with your territory before they've met you? What are, Jordan, what's the, if you could say there's one thing that works the best for you in terms of building rapport with your audience at scale to encourage them to talk to you, giving them a virtual hug, let's say, what is it?
Yeah. So I think commenting is by far the best thing you can do, and that's for a couple of reasons.
Commenting on
your prospects' posts, on social. And there's a couple of reasons for that. I think initially it comes back to that curiosity piece, because what I'm doing there, I'm trying to learn about the person's business, the person themselves, what they like, how they think, right? And it's a really buyer-centric way of trying to engage, because you're putting the focus on them, you're trying to add value, ask questions within that comment to selfishly bring your face to the top of their feed or their notifications box, but you're doing so in a way where you're really genuinely taking an interest. And I think there, again, to your point, you're not searching for that mutual interest, for that opportunity, which I think is why the traditional approaches aren't as effective, cold calling, cold emailing, because you're constantly searching for that 3 to 5%, and buyers feel that.
Yeah. And if your buyers or customers aren't posting on social, how do you?
So again, look in their activity section where their posts would be. Once you click show all activities, there's a few tabs along the top, and you can see if your prospect has commented on someone else's post or also reacted on someone's post. And there, what you want to do is engage with those pieces of content that they're showing an interest in, because that that's relevant to them. They've taken interest in that, and again, they'll be notified that someone has made a comment. If that's still not working, maybe you then send a message saying, "How noticed you like this post? What was it that really stood out to you?"
Yeah. And just, you're 4 weeks into your new job with the ISP. Just give us an idea, a sense of how many meetings you're booking now on a weekly basis.
Yeah, so I'm still in that ramp up period of my process. So there's a bit of a lag in my process from the point of connection to when I have calls with people. It's about a month.
Yeah.
But at the minute, the average is 6 net new meetings a week.
Okay. Net new business meetings a week with non-customers.
Indeed, exactly. Okay. Yeah, and the target, or in accordance with my previous stats, that will get to 10 a week.
Nice. Jensen, I'm going to ask you now, what if there's one thing that you would say has the biggest impact, is most effective for you with building rapport with your target audience prior to a conversation, prior to them knowing about you, let's say? What is it?
Yeah, I would say exactly what Jordan said: commenting, inserting yourself into networking conversations, and as well, right? If they're not posting, exactly what Jordan said. If they've engaged with content, drop a comment on that content. Share your point of view.
You have to choose. You have to choose a different one.
Okay.
What's the next best thing?
Posting.
Okay, but what type of posting?
Well, I like to have a variety of different posts, right? I like to actually kind of segment my posts into different topics. So, for example, you might have seen my Monday motivation, right? Because I'm not just trying to share my kind of share my thoughts with everyone. I also want to capture kind of as many different audiences. So that's why I have that kind of different array of topics and purpose written posts. So
Are
also,
you talking about demonstrating your experience versus demonstrating who you are? Like,
yeah, exactly that, right? So the demonstrating who I am would be kind of like my Monday motivation post. Demonstrate
non-work related.
exactly.
Yeah.
Kind of sharing my experiences would be the post I wrote on Tuesday. That's also following an article that's gonna be dropped tomorrow. And then a different kind of version of a human post showing a little bit more about me is actually I made a chicken pesto pasta for me and my partner, right? And I then, as I was making that pasta and adding all the ingredients to kind of build this flavor, I thought, oh, actually, I could link this to work and share my thoughts, share my expertise, and actually how both of them kind of sync, even though they're two completely different things.
Yeah, it's a good point, because no one likes a picture of their lunch on a work related social media.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm intrigued. How did you create the link between pesto pasta and work?
In all honesty, it was because I had my laptop open, and I just got thinking about it, and actually, us kind of going through that sorry, excuse me, that change of how we used to kind of work in that old way to the new way, it
Yeah.
changed my mindset to actually start thinking now, actually, where can I find links to everyday life to actually work and kind of express that and actually write it in a very creative way, which is also where I found I've a bit of a passion and interest is actually I actually like writing now, and I like writing these posts. Whereas if you asked me 3 years ago, I would have gone, me write? No, I don't do that.
Yeah.
But then the last point I kind of want to make on all of this kind of building that rapport is, for me as well, it's very important to kind of, even if I'm trying to build rapport on social and in person, it's to connect the dots.
Yeah.
And a couple of examples of this, of where it's worked well, is actually where I've actually built rapport with someone on LinkedIn, seen them at an event. We had an awesome conversation at an event, and it actually ended up that we took a picture together. He posted about me and the conversation we had. I then actually posted about him and the conversation we had, and that is a perfect example of building
Yeah.
rapport.
Love that.
So I
Combining
just thought I would
both.
add that as
Yeah.
well.
Love that. So combining both in person and digital, and this was a potential customer, right?
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah. So I was going to say, so how do you know this is working? And before you answer, I just want to frame it with, Jordan working in an environment where I would say you've got an opportunity to drive volume. You've got a big territory, Jordan. You've got a lot to go after, and you're driving, 6, soon to be 10 meetings a week. I know many salespeople would crave for that, but Jensen, on the other hand, is selling a SaaS product that is, in some cases, several $100,000 average order value. And so, how do you, it's a bit of a loaded question, Jensen, because I know you had a win this week. Don't mention the company name, but, how do you know it's working? How do you know what you're doing is working when you're actually trying to develop your personal brand and build rapport with an audience that is being sold to by hundreds of sales reps on a weekly basis?
Yeah, so how I know it's working is obviously kind of increasing my connections and network within that account. Also, not just that, the engagement I receive from the amount of people within that account, which then also kind of tells me that my content is resonating and actually landing with them. So then, actually, my next step would be what would be my next post to try and captivate them again and actually get them to engage, right? And then it's that methodology after they've made that engagement that I follow to actually gain a conversation with that individual. And then my aim is there to actually have as many conversations with as many people within that account, to build rapport and also to build trust, for me to be seen as that trusted advisor. So really, that's how I kind of see that it's working. It's actually my network grows within that account. I'm getting a lot more reactions and engagements from people within that account.
Yeah. Okay, good stuff. Well, I think that brings us to the end of this week's Walking Digital Corridors. I would
say we've gone over quite considerably. Is that because you're scared to get off because of your mum doesn't look a day over 49 comment?
Yeah. Sorry, did I say 49? I meant 30. Yeah, I meant 30. Cool. Anyway, I'm taking shopping this afternoon and out for a meal, so
Very nice.
I'll have an opportunity to rebuild some brownie points, some credits. I was just going to summarize though, because I think it's important for everyone in sales to think about building rapport way before the first time you meet them. And actually, in 2024, when, a business's competitive advantage, I believe, relies on their people and their people's ability to develop their personal brands and leverage their personal brands to cut through the noise of knowledge and insight that's being thrown at buyers. Two things, I think. One is really reflect on what you want to be known for, what you want your personal brand to be. That'll make it far easier to develop content that you can publish on social media in an effort to build rapport with your entire territory, 100% of your territory. And I don't just mean the things that you want to be known for that are related to what you do as a business and what your audience thinks about on a daily basis. It's some of the things that Jensen, you were talking about. So your Monday motivation, your new passion for cooking. Oh my God, I never thought I'd hear those words come from your mouth. And they're the kind of things that really help salespeople cut through the noise and ultimately get conversations with their target audience. And it's the ones that aren't doing that I think are struggling. But anyway, yeah.
One last thing for people to try actually to help build rapport is make a post, introduce yourself to your network, say 3 things that you're interested in or your interest, share that with your network, see who engages, see who likes, reach out to them, ask for a conversation, see how that works. And I promise you that it will be the start of actually realizing it's not as hard as I thought. So take the jump and try it.
Great advice. Cool. Have a great rest of the week, folks. See you next time.